Let me check the YouTube side and real quick. I should have had it on here. I always say I should have had something on something. All right. All right, it's saying we live. All right, we'll be right back.
I'm in the city, yeah. I'm in the spot. In the vicinity. I'm the hottest up in the city, yeah. I'm really in. I studied the ones that was the realest, the illest, that invented that. Talking about griots. West African passages for the street stone. Adios, mio. Make it get about the Afro like
Okay, right.
Raise a toast to the ancestors of old. For the knowledge comes in the form of
Of a griot. In the form of a griot.
Peace.
Come on, man.
Welcome to the Griot Podcast. I'll let my sister introduce herself first, and then we'll fall in line.
Hey, yo, what up, good and wonderful people? Welcome to the Griots podcast. My name is Dr. Ashley Wade. I have a long list of titles, which I'm about to shoot them at y'all real quick. Bow. I'm a pharmacist. I'm the owner of ADH Pharmacy Consulting. I'm also a big community person, community advocate, literacy advocate, founder of Corks and Covers, and Read with Dr. Wade and Friends Presents Book Club, which is a nonfiction-based book study school. I'm also a member of ASALA, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And yeah, let me shoot it over to one of these greats, Sean P. or Kofi. Take it away.
Go ahead, Kofi. Red Ranger.
All right. Well, I'm a griot. I am a griot.
All the things.
I go by Kofi Piesie. I'm a writer, ghostwriter, an author, an entrepreneur, a public speaker, a lecturer, a music producer, a publisher, amongst other things.
Yeah. And bringing up the rear, last but not least, the man Sean P coming in live. This is the host of the Sean P Experience. Also 1/3 of the Griot Podcast, public speaker, community curator, historian, poet, amongst other things, man. We got a real good show lined up for y'all. I'm excited. I mean, every week we always excited every time, but this show in particular, it's gonna be a little something, a little more sprinkle razzle dazzle for y'all, man. I'm excited for this show.
All right. Let me go to the comments. All right, let me pull this up real quick, and we're gonna jump right into it.
I'm so excited for today's show, y'all. So lit. You know, we love a good conversation here at the Griots Podcast. You know, we love a good book study, but we also, the depth of conversation that we're about to have is going to be insane. Thank you guys for tuning in, joining in with us today, because baby, treats on deck. Treats.
So I just always like to give an outline of the podcast before we get started. The opening segment is honoring a teacher, a scholar, a writer, an author, a revolutionary, or someone from the past or present. That is by my brother Seanathan Polidore, the Griots and Griots segment. That's another segment, front runner by myself, Kofi Piesie. The commercial segment, just a brief promoting our books, products, and anybody else's products that wants to be promoting. And today we'll be promoting a few other people's platforms today. Discussion segment. Discussion segment today we'll be discussing Jonathan McReynolds' book, Before You Climb Any Higher. Our woman segment, like I say, this is my favorite segment, right? It is headway by my beautiful sister, Dr. Ashley Wade, where she briefly talks and gives flowers to women who have contributed something of value to the political world, writing world, author world, business world, medical world, and the academia world. We always want to definitely highlight our women, in anything that we do. A lot of times they get left out of things, because this, and in this perspective, in this climate, it's a male dominant, a male driven perspective. But as individuals, as myself, Sean, and we don't look at it as that world. We don't look at this as this is a man's world. You know, it's a man's and a woman's world, right? So we always want to definitely give flowers and highlight those who are uh doing something of value or contributing something to our people, right? So let's get into it, man. Let's get into the opening segment. The opening segment is it's on you, Sean.
Yes, yes. I'm very excited about this month opening segment, right? I have the brother called Triple H as Herbert Henry Harrison. Before I keep continue, have y'all heard about Herbert Henry Harris?
Of course.
Oh, I have.
Yeah, okay, okay. So for those that haven't, he is known as the Black Socrates,
Mhm.
the father of Black radical thought in Harlem. And this is before the Harlem Renaissance. This predates Harlem Renaissance, right? So he was from St. Croix. At the age of 16, he was able to travel the world, picking up a lot of things, right? So he was going to school. Whenever he was in school, he was the top student. His teachers were saying, look, whatever this dude end up doing, he gonna be known around the world, right? He gonna be known as a scholar, but couldn't afford to go to college. So back to being an autodidact, back to being self-taught, he taught himself, studying sociology, science, psychology, literature, and drama, right? So I love talking about those self-taught guys because these guys became the ones that was the forefathers of a lot of the names that we talk about all the time for all whatever. These guys are their mentors, their teachers, their scholars, right? Um, he founded the Liberty League and a newspaper called The Voice in Harlem. Now, I wish I would have known that when I was in Harlem just 2 months ago. I wish I would have known to even look for that and look that up. He was the major presence out there in New York at the time. Known for the ability to take complex ideas and make them simplify where anybody can get it. And I love that because Malcolm X, my all-time favorite hero is Malcolm X. He is known for making complex things to where anybody can get it. So the PhDs in the room, they're being entertained, but also the janitor or the person that couldn't go to school is not over their head. Everybody can get down like that. This guy can do it. He was entertaining on the street corners. So he the forefather of that. We known for those soapbox, they call them soapbox preachers on the corner, and they talking in front of everybody. We know Malcolm X for that. Nation of Islam. We know all kind of other leaders behind that were known for that. This guy's the one that kicked that off. He started that. Whenever Marcus Garvey finally came to the U.S., he was the one that put Garvey onto a lot of things that he carried on with the UNIA. Those things were spearheaded by Hubert Harris, right? And then ultimately they split, right? Um, Ultimately he had a big old clash with the other black leaders because a lot of other black leaders, they wanted to get along with the get along to get white people money. He didn't want to get down like that. So because of that, he is blackballed. That's the reason why I think a lot of people don't know this man's name. He is not known with the boys and Douglas, Washington, all these, Garvey. He is amongst that class and ahead of that class, but he is not widely known as them. I had the blessing, there's a brand new book coming out about him in June. And the author and I talked a couple of days ago to bring him on the Sean P experience. And I have him on the show in May. It's a brand new book about Hubert Harris. And I spent probably 90% researching this guy yesterday, but just reading different books about him and articles and videos. And I'm down the whole rabbit hole about this dude, man. But that's today's opening segment. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, man. Most definitely, man. A lot of people don't talk about Hubert Henry, Harris at all, man. He's the forerunner of a lot of things, man. I was introduced to him maybe about 8 years ago. I have an individual who I network with from time to time. He called himself the Black Socrates, and his one of his idols, or he patterned himself after of his Hubert Harrison. That's how I ended up knowing about uh Hubert Harrison. I can't think of the name or the book that I read on Hubert Harrison that he suggested, but that was many years ago. But yeah, man, a lot of people sadly mistaken when you mention a lot of our great scholars or a lot of people that paved the way, his name does not be mentioned amongst some of the other greats?
Um, the books written about him is this one white scholar named Jared Perry, something like that. He passed recently. This guy wrote like a 900-page bio on him. The other book, the additional volume, probably 700 something pages. It's like 3 different books he made, and all of them are large books. All 3 of them, large text.
Wow.
Dang.
That's good. I mean,
700
this is my
something?
first introduction to him. I'm glad to know about him. Thanks for putting us on, right? But I'm not surprised. I mean, based on our research and different experiences, we just continue to uncover, uncover more amazing people doing amazing things. You know what I'm saying? Well within their own right. And I appreciate the self-taught people too. We learned this phrase or term called jack-legged from the Asala presentation, where it's like, you are self-taught and that's your own validation. You know, we talk about betting and validation, but like truth is the truth. And if you're a true seeker, no matter how you get there, you know, it's validated because truth is what it is. So I appreciate you putting us on to Mr. Harrison today. Thank you, Sean P.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The Black Socrates.
The black,
Yes.
the blacks.
Yes. So let's get into the Griots segment real quick. For those who may not know what a Griot and the Griots is, we definitely want to reiterate that every show because this is the Griot podcast, right? So
Facts.
what is a Griot and what is a Griot? It's unique to West Africa. The griot or jelly profession encompasses many roles. Griots, pronounced griot, have been referred to as historians or storytellers, but there is no real word in the English language that includes all the functions. And traditional griots could do everything from recounting history to composing music to teaching students to acting as diplomats. They are genealogists, historians, spokespersons, ambassadors, musicians, teachers, warriors, interpreters, praise singers, masters of ceremonies, advisors, negotiators, and mediators. Not every griot or griotis does all of these things, but these are examples of functions of a griot or a griotis professions embodies, right? So these are all of the functions of the griot, you know, and I'm glad that we go over this every um every episode because there are still people out there that is not familiar with a griot or a griotis or familiar with them, but only know of them that serves in one function or two function, and that is a storyteller and a musician, right? So now we're able to continue to spread that, that griot and griotis, they served in so many different capacities uh, throughout West African culture, right? So there you have it with the griot in the griotis section. Real quick before we get in discussion, let's get into the promote side. I want to continue to promote the Acting on Your Dreams and Vision book that is written by myself, Seanathan Polidore, and Dr. Ashley Wade, as well as the Acting on Your Dreams and Vision book. If you don't have those books, please, that workbook or the book, please go to www.same2differentbrandspublishing.com and get that spectacular book and
And
workbook.
and the audio version. Don't forget the audio. Don't forget
Oh,
the amazing audio
and the audio.
narrated by the wonderful D. Lewis and the sister. What the sister name was? The sister.
Uh, uh, I can't
She
even think of the sister
she
name.
did Ashley Wade so well,
She really did.
so
Yeah.
well.
I
She
forget
embodied.
her name is Davis. Somebody that her Davis.
See,
Uh,
she embodied it. She
Hold
embodied it.
on. I'm gonna pull it up so we can get
Yeah,
her
that way
name.
I don't forget. We want to do her right because
Yeah, we gotta do it right, man.
she did do an amazing
For
job.
anybody out there that loves to do the immersion reading,
Yeah.
you and your class go out there, get the audio and get the workbook and everything, and do it simultaneously. Get that oscillation going on, and you can go back and forth listening and taking notes. Want to promote that? There we go. I love that cover, by the way.
There you go. Flo
Beautiful
Day.
cover.
Yeah. Flo Davis, Sister Flo Davis. So we want to make sure that we don't forget you as well. We apologize. We'll apologize, but that is the audio book. Then you have the main book, Acting on Your Dreams and Vision, and the workbook. the Acting on Your Dreams and Vision workbook. So if you don't have it, again, go to www.same3differentbrandspublishing.com to get the book, as well as the From Privilege to Genocide, the Hutus and the Tutsi conflict and its colonial roots. If you don't have that, go to www.same3differentbrandspublishing.com. There was a sister a few weeks ago that shocked me, that bought the book, that, I didn't think that she would be interested in a subject matter or that particular topic, but she shared the book, shared some of her thoughts because she read the book. So I don't know her name by heart, but again, appreciate it. So if you don't have From Privilege to Genocide, the Hutus and Tutsi conflict and its colonial roots, written by me, please go out and get that book, as well as getting Sean's. Let me pull these things up here so we can get the visual in here. Let me just do that. Do I have that one? I may not have that one on here, but go get that one and go get Sean's book. You see,
The
there it is.
reader,
The
baby,
Sean
the collection of
reader,
thoughts,
right?
man.
The
Sean
collection
Yes,
of
sir.
thoughts. Yes, so go get his product. Also, go get my sister book. It's a journey,
Yes,
a holistic journey for discovering self,
yes.
by Dr. Ashley Wade. Those are some highly recommended reads. Please go check those books out. Also, I didn't have a chance to put well, I have these on here as well. Also, go get Team RBG, the red, the black, and the green. It is a mixtape that has over 30 some songs. It has 3
Wow.
different mixtapes within one. Team RBG. I'm also a new member of Team RBG, and Team RBG is not just it is a organization, a entity that deals with music. It deals with political education. It deals with agriculture. It deals with economic. It deals with political sciences. So it's a variety. So that's just only one niche, is the music part. So please go get the Team RBG Gumbo mixtape. I'm telling you, you're gonna jam it from the beginning to end. Those mixtapes are like institutions, and the people, and each song is a class, and the MCs are the professors who are teaching the class. I'm telling you, it is a most definitely recommended mixtape. You know what I'm saying? If you want to listen to something with some substance, if you want to listen to something that has positive messages in them, that mixtape, as well as Vengeance Radio Live 360 Radio. Um, I'm finna get the Griot podcast stuff over there. I got the Warrior Scholar stuff. All the Warrior Scholar interviews are on that radio station. Finna try to get the Griot podcast episodes on Vengeance Radio, but Vengeance Radio, Genius Level Radio on Live 360. Those are 2. One is by Son, the Great Vengeance Radio, and the other one is headed by Don Genius Level Radio. Those are radio stations that has substance and messages on it. So if you're tired of listening to music that is heavy influenced by drugs, heavy influenced by killing people that look like you, heavy influenced by sexual deeds, you know what I'm saying, or oval sexual deeds, or promoting promiscuous, you know what I'm saying, these radio stations are definitely for you. They definitely are for the people. So we can't say anymore that we tired of listening to the radio because they're pushing a certain things. These radio stations, as well as this mixtape, is pushing what we call proper propaganda. So we have those who push propaganda, the propaganda that they're pushing. So now we have to push our own propaganda now, and that is through this platform here, the Griot Podcast, through music, through our own Black news media outlets. You know what I'm saying? Every niche, every form, we have to be able to push our own proper propaganda, right? So that is the promote side. So and anybody that wants their products or services promoted, please hit me, Sean, or Dr. Ashley Wade up, and we'll definitely promote your products on this platform, right? So man, let's get into it, man. Let's get into discussion. What we here for? We here to discuss this book right here. Jonathan McReynolds,
Yes, sir.
before you climb any higher, right? So we're
Yes.
gonna jump in that book. Sean, I'm gonna let you lead it off, but first I wanna let me do this. I wanna I always wanna, because we a lot of us like to do immersion reading, right? So I want to start off with the anybody interested in the book. Again, the title is Before You Climb Any Higher, is authored by Jonathan Reynolds. The paperback link, if you're interested in getting the book, it is 205 pages. Copyrighted date is 2025. It is published by W Publishing. I think that's a new publishing company that's out there. Auto link. The audio link, if you buying the audio book link is 5 hours and 47 minutes, which is not that bad. It is narrated by Jonathan McReynolds himself, right? So there is the length of the book and the audio book, just in case anybody want to read the book, how many pages. If you want the audio book, it's 5 hours and 47 minutes, which wasn't bad at all. It wasn't bad at all listening to the audio book as well, man. But we gonna just jump in, Sean. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you hit, and we'll
Yeah.
we'll
I'm
run
gonna
it.
just set the table real fast, man. So how I came across the book for the audience, man. So outside of doing this podcast, I'm a part of different groups where we help publishing companies promote their works. So we are tasked with reading the book and then making some kind of content around the book to promote it. So before this thing even came across my desk, I didn't know who Jonathan McReynolds was at all. And so many of my friends they said, man, this man is a 2-time Grammy Award-winning. I didn't know any of that. But I think it was an advantage not knowing any background. I didn't have any expectation going into it. I was just blindly reading, right? So the company called Hear Our Voices, the name of the company, they contacted me and gifted me a copy. And I read the book back in like early January, into December. And I've been talking about this book at some point or another every day since January. At some point in the conversation, I might see something. I say, oh, that's the mountain mindset. Or that's the valley. See in the valley. So this book is a self-help publication. It is kind of like, I want to say, Christian, inspirational, motivational kind of a background. And he is using his life struggles he's gone through personally to paint a picture and give a story to the audience about how to go about. I would say this: if you're a very self-motivated person, if you're highly driven, a high achiever, always have all these big goals on your list every year, you always tackling something, I think this book is perfect for a person like that. Not saying everybody can't read that, just can get something out of it, but I think specifically for a niche market, if you're a real hard driving person, which is why I wanted my co-hosts, because I know all three of us, we're privileged. I told Ashley this earlier, we're privileged. All three of us, we're privileged. We've climbed mountains already. We've accomplished things already, and we're currently, on top of some mountains. So I wanted them to read it because I think we could all benefit some kind of way. And that's me setting the table. I'm gonna back up from there and let y'all go with what y'all got to say, man.
I was trying to see if Kofi was gonna hop in, but like when I first read it, as I was getting into it, because my worldview is my worldview, Kofi's worldview is his worldview, and we all arrive at a particular place based on our experience, our research, and different things that we're exposed to. And so when I first got into the book, I started opening it. Before we get into any details, oh, are we still here? I don't see Kofi.
Yeah, be
But
good.
before,
Keep it going.
okay,
Keep it going.
before we get into any details, at first I was already like, by certain references, specifically, around Christianity, I was already initially turned off. But like I was telling folks, I'm a person that I'm very analytical like that, and I like to try to get to know who the person of the author is. What kind of person is this? What are they telling us without telling us? And what are their experiences maybe in the moment? So I got a lot of insight. And ultimately, I was telling Sean, I would give this book probably about a 4 out of 5 stars because I don't want to judge his art. We had this conversation earlier based on my biases and my judgments. And I think that's something key that I wanted to make sure I mentioned here, because if I limited and I guess historically I can do this, and because we all are interested in what we're interested in. But I'm glad about the exposure of this book, because if I would have limited myself, I would have missed some of the gems, some of the really deep points about the valley. Even though there wasn't, there were things that I didn't necessarily 100% agree with, I definitely got some huge awakening moments, like, oh, okay. And then just experiencing some rest and reset this past weekend really drove home that valley experience. So what it can be. And I do think it's important, us people who are on the mountain, like you said, Sean, like a niche population, there could be more. And that was one of my initial points with the book. And we'll get into it, I guess, as we start tapping in. But one of my initial points is we got to be careful not to discourage people from the mountain by the way we present certain things. Like, oh, it's lonely. He mentioned lonely a lot, and different things regarding the mountain itself. But I think ultimately you have to learn yourself into a particular mindset. You have to enlighten yourself along the way. And before we get into the weeds, I still stand on that. You have to continue to enlighten yourself. Even if you consider yourself religious or not, you have to continue to study and, like we talked about earlier with Mr. Harrison, enlighten yourself. Because a lot of times what we do is we depend on these other qualifiers. I have this degree, I've done these things, and we depend on those qualifiers to sustain us on the mountain because of what you've done, which is important. But you do have to continue to learn along the way. You can never be like, oh, I've climbed mountains. I'm a mountain climber. I don't have to learn anything else. I'm a mountain climber, So you have to be very careful to keep that posture of a learner and keep that posture of oscillation. So you can climb the mountain and still get what you need. You know what I'm saying? We talked about that a lot. Mountain support. Because if you're on the mountain and you're doing great things for the community, we don't necessarily need you to come down just to come down because you're at the top. We want to be able to support you and support each other on the mountain. So in my head, I'm like, okay, the mountain is your big goal. The mountain is, your purpose, your mission. That's what the mountain is. But again, like you said, improving yourself, that's a part of it too.
Let me do a little bit more table setting to break that down. The mountain in this book is a metaphor he uses. All of us have a goal. I would hope all of us have a goal, a dream, a vision. So the mountain for a particular person, that could be somebody going to school, could be a particular job you're pursuing, it could be writing books, could be a public speaking. And this guy is he's a Christian singer, if you will. That's his mountain, right? All of us have our own metaphor for the task that we're trying to pursue. Is the ambition, is the drive, is that determination to go out there and go and get something. That's the mountain. The valley metaphor is known for like rest, rejuvenation, restoration, the downshift, the taking the time off, taking the time to reconnect with the family, the loved ones. Those are some of the metaphors he used throughout the. So whenever we talk about this throughout the conversation, we're referring to that.
Yes, he's
good call, Sean.
Yeah, he's talking about the mountain mindset, constantly focused on achieving and striving, fueling by goals, recognition, and pressure. Easily, and he's the valley mindset, a place of spiritual rest and reconnection, not about accomplishing, but about being where you are known simply. Well, I kind of disagree with that key point there. But the key is to work from the mountain but live from the valley. So he's talking about two different mindsets: the mountain mindset and the valley mindset that Sean just described. And all of us have those mountain mindsets, as well as the valley mindset. Some of us have more of a driven mindset, you know what I'm saying, which is, we constantly are trying to climb the mountain. We accomplish one thing, we off to the next, accomplish that thing, we off to the next. We constantly chasing things, so we constantly climbing, we constantly climbing the mountain to achieve whatever achievement, or, whether it's popularity, whether it's money, notoriety, whatever it is, that mountain mindset, and the valley mindset, like I said, and that's something that I need to work on as well. So, me personally, reading and listening to the book, it kind of gave me a perspective on, it's nothing wrong with coming back down to, the valley. You know what I'm saying? The valley is not necessarily just resting. You know what I'm saying? The valley is spending time with spending time with your family. You know what I'm saying? Teaching your children. You know what I'm saying? So the valley could means a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? A place of meditation, stillness. And rest, right? And that's something that this book has um taught me to actually start. I hadn't started working on it yet, but I have a date in mind when I'm gonna start doing this. I'm finna knock out a few things in the next couple of the next couple of weeks, and I'm definitely gonna try to develop that mindset. This is something that I'm gonna have to work on. Something that I'm not gonna be able to do. Even mountain climbing, the mountain mindset. This is something that you have to develop over time, right? And for me, the
I
book.
wanted to.
Let me rate the book, man. I wanted to rate the book at a 4. Reading the book at a 4.2. At a 4.2, I rated it a 4.2 out of 5.
I wanted to add to that valley concept for the audience. He gave a good metaphor in the book how a lot of times in conversation, the valley is always used in a negative connotation
Yeah.
through spirituality, through just generational folk tales and all that. Anything dealing with a valley is kind of a negative connotation, right? But in reality, in real life, the valley is where things grow. It's lush with greenery. You have animals coming out. You have the Nile Valley civilization. We know that, Africa. A lot of the greatest things were started in the valley, right? So he was talking about where the resources are, because on the mountain, in reality, there are no actual resources. There are no vegetation. There are no animals. You have a lack of oxygen. He broke down, which I love about the book too, he broke down real actual mountain climbing and what actually happens scientifically to the body whenever you're doing certain things. I like that aspect to the book as well.
Yes, he actually talked to someone, just bumped in somebody who was a mountain climber. I think, was he in an elevator or something? He was coming from somewhere and bumped into somebody and spoke and asked. I think it was a lady, if I'm not mistaken. And so happened she had just came back from climbing a mountain, you know what I'm saying? And she had a conversation with him. So he was able to get a firsthand account from someone who actually literally climbs a mountain, right? So he was able to get some stats and some statistics and some personal, what I'm saying, information from someone who actually climbed a mountain, which I thought was dope. Him just bumping and the odds of that bumping into somebody you writing and you're working on a book,
That's
what I'm
the
saying?
alignment. The
Yeah.
alignment.
Yes, and I believe in that because I keep telling people when you in your purpose, you know what I'm saying, and you're working and you staying hard at work and you can't do nothing but attract people, places, and things, right? So, and so, it was in perfect alignment. He attracted, you
I
know,
want to ask a question for the squad, right? A lot of times you growing up as a kid, they say you want to find something you love to do. Because if you love to do it, you don't need a break from it. You want to find something you don't need a vacation from. So what are y'all thoughts about the advanced thought about how hard it is to get off of that mountain? Because I think the three of us, we have been blessed to find things that we love. I know Kofi, I know Kofi for a fact, Kofi and myself, for example, we love this thing so much. We could do it all day. I could do this thing all day. We pride ourselves on that. So it's even more difficult to get off of the mountain whenever it's not killing you, supposedly. It's not something that's just like, oh man, it's driving me crazy. You in the zone, you in the flow state with this thing. It's even harder to downshift and come back down. What's your thoughts on that kind of a concept?
ooh, man, for me, it's definitely gonna be some work for me. It's definitely even my body will tell me certain things that I need to do. I need to shut it down. I need to stop. But I just even when I actually tries to take a break and, as he would say, get in the valley mindset, and I go into the living room, I sit in there with my daughter and my wife, and they like to watch movies, and I'm in there trying to hold conversation, spend quality time with the family, relax, laugh, have some fun, right? But it bothers me. It literally bothers me that I'm not in my office working. So I'll go grab my laptop and come in the living room till I get cussed out. And that's the whole purpose, to get cussed out, to go back into the office so I can work on the things that I'm trying to achieve. I got this, I want to do this, that. So I'm trying to achieve this. I'm trying to reach this. I'm trying to make some money over here. I'm trying to get some notoriety over here. I'm trying to get my company, you know what I'm saying, looked at over here. I'm trying to do this, that, and the third. I'm trying to, get this brand off the ground. Oh, I need to, it's whatever it is. So it's hard to turn it off for me. So that mindset of constantly want, and I feel like that I'm not doing nothing. That's just me. I feel like I'm not doing nothing, man, if I'm just sitting there and not, you know what I'm saying, and not working. When I know it should be some balance in there, but I just can't control myself when it comes. I'm always climbing the mountain. You know what I'm saying? I'm always climbing the mountain. I'm always got my backpack on. I got my water. I got my meals. I got my my oxygen mask. I got my protein shake. I got my protein bars. You know what I'm saying? I'm steady feeding myself so so I can continue to climb that mountain, man. So it's definitely
I see.
gonna be hard to deprogram myself from climbing the mountain.
I see we have the brother Demetrius Fraser in the chat, Black Men Reading, the owner of Resist Books. Resist Books. So Demetrius, I see he has left corporate America. He's doing this thing full time. I would love in the chat if Demetrius could chime in on what it's like trying to juggle these mountains, man. You're a business owner now. That's your bread and butter now to pay the bills and take care of your household and whatnot. So you on the big mountain, my brother.
Yes, indeed. What about for you, Dr. Wade? What about you?
So I think that there's a word that we've been talking about since like January, and it's oscillate. And I think that's an important, and it's concept. Like, let's start at the concept of oscillation, the definition. You go back and forth. And the theology that, so much negativity happens. I guess this is where I want to start, because the mountain is hard. Like it's hard regarding vegetation, all the descriptors that Sean mentioned, that Jonathan mentions in this book. I don't want to invalidate those things, the aloneness, the loneliness. And he talks about his experience with the people around him, and it was kind of negative, and he would kind of have these outbursts. But I think that's a certain mindset. Again, I'm trying to always understand the mind of a person, what they're going through, what they're presenting to us. And sometimes mountain people are loners, and they don't know how to balance wanting people around or wanting to entertain other people, other energies. And I think that's a lesson to be learned, because when you look at us, we're each on a mountain every day. Like, we do our thing, but the way we support each other, and we all could do a better job of support checking in, but we do a pretty good job. How you doing? How your mental? Shout out to Kofi. But like, that whole mountain support should be a thing. It shouldn't have to be an extreme. There's some gray area, which entitles us to support each other on the mountain. Yes, you packed your bag, you prepared, right? But if you run into somebody that's a mountain climber, if you run into somebody, or you happen to run into somebody on the mountain, maybe y'all have different styles, but maybe you can grow together. You can become enlightened about things together. And his first presentation of the mountain was like all this low energy stuff. And y'all know I'm an energy person. I didn't really like that, because when I'm on my mountain and we climbing, like Sean said, we in our bag, we're flowing, I feel good. We don't feel depleted until we're tired. Now, there does come a point when we are tired, And when we're tired, we'll go back down the mountain. It's not the problem that we have it's not the issue that we have a problem with the valley. We just don't like to stay in the valley long because we good on the mountain. We are excellent on the mountain. So I was kind of feeling a certain way about the perspective. I was feeling a certain way, of course, of his worldview. But ultimately, I'm like, what kind of person is this? He seems a little cynical, and I'm not judging him. But again, I'm analyzing what he's presenting. You on the mountain, buddy. What you mean? You want to talk about being alone? Are you alone? Then how do you build your tribe? So again, looking outside of the actual mountain and figuring out where you can build laterally. I need my tribe. I need my people. I need people on the same mind as me, because it seemed like he was the higher up and the people that were around him were like low vibration or low. So he had to support himself. And then he mentions in here somewhere, he was like, you know, what I do gives other people a chance to get wholeness, but I can't receive wholeness as the artist. And I'm like, that's a particular posture. And that should sit somebody down enough to make them think, okay, how much can I enlighten myself? Not necessarily that I need to go to the valley so I can replenish, but like, where do I have gaps in my perspective, my understanding, my worldview, so that I can grow into, quote unquote, like he mentions, who God supposed me to be. Because if I'm talking about, you know, God on the mountain, then I need to be able to celebrate. I didn't hear him talk much about celebration. He talked about living in LA. He didn't talk a lot about the good things, the positivity of the mountain. So that tells me he didn't enjoy being up there. So again, if we can talk about enjoying being up there, I think I want to also throw this out there before I pass it along. Continue to encourage those mountain thinkers, those mountain action people, because we do. The nonprofit, the whatever, we all need to be able to pull from that resource. Yeah. But I do want to encourage, as we talk about further, that valley mindset. Sometimes you do have to get you somewhere and sit down. It may not be every day. It may not be once a month. But that one day or 2 days, get you somewhere and sit down, like Big Mama used to say. And that we can bite off those small chunks. If we say take off a week, that's a lot. But a 24 hours, we can give ourselves 24 good hours to not do nothing and not feel guilty. And that takes grace. And I'm going to leave it right there.
I want to propose something I told Kofi on Friday night in private. I think some of it comes from the capitalism, right? From slavery. They always said that we was worthless and we lazy and all that. So I think our ancestors trying to prove to them how much we could work. We have a mindset of being so proud of how much I could work. I got 3 and 4 jobs. We said so proud. I got 3 jobs. I don't get tired. Remember that? I got 6 jobs.
Yeah.
And we so prideful about. I ain't took a day off in 5-6 months. I got all my vacation days still stacked up. I ain't took no sick days. Like, why we talk like that? That's a mentality. We got to break that mentality. And back to the slavery thing, right? We know in the old days at the crib, you couldn't just sleep all day. At about 9-10 o'clock, come on, get out that bed. You got to go and fix something. You got to go and clean something. Go out there in that yard, pick up something. Go around the back of the house. Go cut something. Go to a neighbor house. Go fix their yard. But you couldn't just sit and just chill. True. So we as adults gotta really pretty much discipline ourselves to take that rest.
Facts. And can I jump in us?
Yeah, go ahead,
I saw Ray Chesley do that with her son Cam when we were at the summit. He was allowed to have chill days. Again, in our time, what do you mean chill day? Even Sunday, you had to, whatever. But, I saw her. This is Cam is 8. And he understands the concept of a chill day. Even though he's a young mountain climber in a gifted school, all the credentials as a kid, he still understands a valley moment. And I appreciate those parents who now today are allowing their children, even my sister, to miss a day of school. You've been working, you've been, attendance on 10, performance on 10. You can take a day. You know what I'm saying? So there are some people who are building that into the future generations, because I think that's important. Burnout is definitely key, but people see that. We don't really share that. So I appreciate his vulnerability for sure. His vulnerability and letting us into how he really felt. But like, I want to shout out that comment that Demetrius said. He said, it's easy. Look at this perspective, the mountain. It's easy because I'm a transition because of my life mission to help community with literacy and education. So again, in this book, the whole first half of the book is how terrible the mountain is. So again, perspective is everything. Context is everything. And he's probably a young man. We are older. Okay, I'm about to be 42. So again, our perspective has developed and shaped over time. We've read tons of books. We've evolved. And so I look forward to him evolving, you know, in his mindset and perspective and consciousness, so that you can be okay when it's on the mountain, and in the valley, you can be okay with yourself in both places. And that's a message. Give yourself the gift of grace so that you can be okay mentally, spiritually, emotionally on the mountain, because we need our mountain people. But then in the valley, also have that same level of peace. Like, okay, I'm going to give myself grace this day or this weekend, you know, because the work is going to be there. The work is the work.
I want to speak on my Saturday yesterday, right? I stayed in the bed 90% of Saturday. I don't mean sleeping the whole time, but I literally allowed myself to just stay in bed, don't do any productivity, no emails going out. I'm not trying to shoot my shot to get the next guest for the podcast. I'm not trying to achieve anything. I took 90% of Saturday and allowed myself, like, you know what? I'm just unplugged. And don't feel guilty. Don't feel the kind of way about it. But that took time to discipline myself. It wasn't no overnight thing to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Dr. Wade, we like, I agree with you, like, far as we need to find that tribe. And maybe that's what, you know, by me reading this book, you know, and like you saying, he you know, he made the mountain feel negative and he was alone. Like, in a sense, I could feel where he was coming from, because I have my tribe, you know, and I need to do better, you know, and we tap in with each other, you know, me, you, and there's a few other people that I tap into. And I think we all could do better, you know, do better with that. I know we all have a lot of things going on, but it's like, if I'm not conversating with, I got a handful of people. So if I'm not conversating with those handful of people, and those handful of people are not in where I stay at, right? So I don't surround myself around people that stay in the valley mindset, right? So I need to be around, because in order for me to achieve whatever I'm trying to achieve, or achieve greatness, I need to surround myself around people who are great or even greater than I am, right? Those who are paving the way. So maybe for him, he didn't have those people in his positions, because most of the people I grew up with that did not move away from here. If I leave the country, I stay in the country and I go downtown, the same individuals that I graduated with back in 95, I'm telling my age, they still talk, dress, and are doing the same thing. It's moving in the same, they're moving in circles. They're not going nowhere. They're just moving in circles, right? And I, you know, I have so much that I'm trying to achieve before I leave this plane of existence, because I started late. So now that I know what my value is, and now I know what I need to do, because I have children, I have to, you know, so I created the mindset of I have to climb this mountain. I love being on the mountain, but me climbing that mountain, I feel like I'm alone in a sense. And going back to when I do try to go back down to the valley, what I tell y'all, I do things to get cussed out so I can go back and work, so I can start back climbing the mountain. I don't feel, just like on page 67. In 67, he was talking to his mother, right? He was in the valley. He was talking to his mother. And his mother was, you know, hey, baby, and, you know, giving him that love and encouragement. He was trying to, he said, he's saying to himself, all I was doing was just trying to call to see how you doing, and that's it. And it turned into a long conversation. You asked me about my cousin, how I'm doing, blah, blah. And he was ready to get off the phone with his mother, you know, and even though he hadn't talked to his mother, but she's encouraging him. She's saying, baby, I love you, and I'm proud of you, Blase. He wasn't trying to hear none of that. He was trying to hurry up to get off because in the valley, he was in the valley. It was stopping him from ascending and climbing the mountain. And I resonated with that because I feel the same way. I can be on the phone with my mom, or I can be my wife, or be like, come here. And I go in the room and she go to talking. And then I go to drifting off thinking about, oh man, I could be doing such and such and such. And she be like, go ahead. You ain't listening to nothing I'm saying. Go ahead. And she cussed me out. That's how once I get that affirmation of being cussed out,
ready to go.
that means get out. Go back to doing what you were doing, you know. Yeah. So so I know for people like me, it's gonna be hard to develop that mindset of trying to reset and relax. Even I people such as myself, when the body, like I done had on occasions, I done had occasions over the years where I'm not as bad as I used to. I used to could stay up 24 to 48 hours. And I done had a place, I done been in a place where I done woke up, I couldn't move my body or open my eyes. And I had another incident where I've worked so much, hadn't got any rest, any sleep. Well, I woke up, my eyes are open, but my body I couldn't move. You know what I'm saying? Those instances, you know what I'm saying? I forgot what the doctor called that. Sleep deprivation. I might be saying it wrong, whatever it was, so I done had those things of working so hard and going so hard, trying to achieve something or accomplish something or get to the next level, right? Where my body will go through these things that'll scare me, and then I'll straighten up and then go right back into that cycle of the mindset of climbing the mountain. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no time to waste. I got to work. And I've been in those spaces, and I know other people can relate to where I've been in those spaces where I feel like, well, dang, I done let 3 or 4 years pass by and I'm not enjoying my life because all I'm doing is working. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to people, they experienced this, they've been here, they've been there with their family, they experienced this, they done experienced these types of food, they done been, across the country to other different places to experience other types of culture, or been around, some other individuals, who, whatever the case was, man. So it's a mindset that definitely people like us, would definitely have to develop and take those necessary steps, to come back to the valley for rest, but not only for rest in the valley, but to enjoy life, because life isn't always about working to achieve the next thing, you know what I'm saying, or get to the next level, or get that notoriety that you've been looking for, man. So it's definitely a working process for me. I'm definitely gonna try to do it, but I definitely could relate to him in that book when he said, feeling lonely, because I do it time, but I don't have to feel that way, but I do that because I isolate myself from my family, right? But I definitely isolate myself from people I grew up with because they not doing anything. There's a lot of work that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to leave something for my children. And I can't do that moving in a circle and not thinking about the bigger picture, and just always thinking about being in the valley and enjoying myself, whether it's drinking up under the tree, whether it's going to the bar, whether it's chasing women, or whatever the case may be.
I'm gonna jump in right here because Sean P told me I could go for 30. I'm gonna jump in right here. On page 27, y'all. He posed the question, and to me it brought spiritual context, because y'all know when I be in the weeds, I be in the weeds. He said on page 27, he said, I wondered if I'd ever been met where I was. And I think as mountain climbers, we have to ask ourselves this question: have we ever been met where we are? And I think that's a root. He said that is to be seen for how he actually felt, or perhaps who I was at any given moment. Further down, it says, I've talked to many obsessive climbers who don't feel seen. Being seen is being understood. So to me, that's a baseline, especially when it comes to your tribe. And a soft place to land on the mountain. Me and Sean were talking about this. You still need a soft place to land on the mountain. So who you do have to be so intentional about who you have in your place where you can land. And sometimes it may not be the traditional role. Traditionally, it says, well, I should be able to find my valley with my wife. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe the case is I find it with my uncle or my great so-and-so who can make me some soup on Sundays, and that's my reset. I think we have this certain idea of rest, and we could expand that a little bit. Maybe it's your favorite meal. And then, like you said, Kofi, you said his mama, that mindset support was there. That mountain support was there, but he shunned it. What if he would have welcomed that? So being willing and able to welcome those mountain resources, because who knows, that helicopter that you see flying over may have some resources for you. And when it come down, you're going to tell it, no, I'm good. I'm just going to use what I got in my backpack. Or you're going to say, okay, bring me more resources. So when the resource is there and you notice it, hey, this person they ain't trying to fuss, or they ain't trying to whatever. They just really want to spend some time. Turn down shift. And that's all it is a downshift. And you mandate the time. Sometimes you feel more comfortable with 24 hours. Sometimes you're done with your work and you feel comfortable with a week. Dial that up and down to whatever works for you, so you don't keep the mindset like, I got to turn this all the way off, and I got to Control Alt Delete power the thing all the way down. Sometimes it's necessary, but sometimes you can go down to like 20 or 40%, get your recovery and get back into your ascent and oscillate between those things, because it's important, again, to be a mountain climber. And that's a gift. Like Sean said, I'm going to keep iterating that point. It's a gift to be on a damn mountain, because it's a lot of people, like Sean said, that, and I'll let him speak more to that, who ain't got no mountain. They're not interested in the mountain. They cool with clocking in and out. This is what I do on Sunday nights, Tuesday nights. But again, that passion, that ambition is what keeps us up there. Those are positive attributes. So we do have to watch between the ambition piece and the self-identifying piece, because they can kind of get misconstrued, and then you don't even know why you're doing what you're doing, because you so into the grind. But keeping that intentionality, just like the gentleman mentioned, literacy and education for the community. Keep that root. You still rooted. You on the mountain, but you still rooted in the valley.
I want to definitely speak on that, because at a certain point early in the book, he was talking about, and people say this kind of phrase all the time, man, I feel like God told me to go and do this. He talked about being able to decipher, did God really tell you that? You got to have discernment. You start playing with me. I think this is my calling. I feel called to this. People say stuff like that. He talked about in the book, you got to have discernment, first of all. You need to have proper mentorship to help you decipher what this thing really is. Because some folks give themselves mountains that's not even your mountain.
Facts.
You have self-appointed this thing to be your mountain. It ain't even for you. And you carrying this thing on your back for no reason. And then some people from an early age, I thought Ashley about like MLK, for an example, and other people, their trajectory pretty much set from childhood. Like Tiger Woods. We can name certain people from a child, Serena Williams, Venus Williams. You ain't really have no choice. Steph Curry. That mountain was given from a little kid. This is your mountain. You got to go and climb that thing. So you got to really be able to decipher and discern, why am I doing this? And keep on reminding yourself, this is what it's about. It's not about this, it's not about that. Stay true to that original thing. And like Demetrius said, I think those of us that can stay haunted to that original calling, we don't get that burnout as fast. We don't get frustrated as fast. We know why we're doing it.
And then too, I want to say this. I want to thank Kofi for being vulnerable in that piece that you just did, because that's half of the battle, that vulnerability piece, to say, okay, I see myself in this space. And sometimes I feel alone, or sometimes that care package be coming down and I'll be like, no, I'm good. I'm passing on the care package. I think just even having that level set of just knowing yourself, that self-discovery piece is important. And then this is something that I picked up from the Zora Summit real quick, is that pleasure piece. Sometimes because of certain religious, or not necessarily religious, but certain ideologies, we live in this self-denial. You see a lot of that in this book. I got to deny myself sex, or I got to deny myself pleasure, or whatever. And I think we get that from a foundation of sacrifice and humbleness, which I understand. But like, we were created to do more than work. even as light beings, even as people who are divine. He mentioned divinity in here, being in your divine place. And I too want to call that out too, because he mentions that like a lot of son and daughterhood as far as being a descendant of the Most High. And I think that is important to not only say, but embody. You can't be like, I'm a son or a daughter, but get on a mountain and feel a certain type of way. Get your ass up there and be a representative, but also be a representative and get that refuel that you need so you can continue to be who you're supposed to be. And you have to accept those resources and accept that if your personality is to reject the help, get into a space where you can allow yourself pleasure. I had to go through that even since the summit. I've been talking about it since, because I realized that even though I've achieved all this, I've allowed myself celebration. I've allowed myself joy, but I'm not sure if I've allowed myself that chance to be, that whole pleasure piece. And you can take it however you want to take that. But again, that's the place we need to sit back with and posture with as mountain climbers, because you'll end up like this, like, damn, I hate the mountain, because you can't kick back on the mountain. But can you? Can you?
Mm-hmm.
Play around with that, because I don't think we were meant to be just workers if we're created in the highness and the oneness. We are also permitted to show people that it's okay. Then those who are light bearers, we have to show that it's okay to step back. So when you don't see me post, oh, she must be in the valley. I have given myself permission. I don't have to post every day. So if you don't see me, whatever, I'm in the valley. If we don't see Kofi post or whatever, however they go, he probably in the valley, and let that man alone. He don't do not disturb. And he has allowed himself to wind down to the point where he mentally can enjoy. And sometimes it's a hug. Sometimes it's physical touch. Sometimes it's nature. So just tapping into those other things that we were sent to appreciate, that were all part of the creation theology, but we deprive ourselves for whatever reason.
Let's tell the family, because I want to make it seem like it's an either or book or conversation. Mm-hmm. So toward the back side of the book, he does do a great job, I think, in my opinion, talking about the like Dr. Wade said, the oscillating back and forth. You pick and choose the next mountain.
True.
I'm gonna prepare and approach it smarter, first of all.
Right.
But then understand how to go and do what I got to do, and then come back to the valley and go back and forth. It's not really an either or conversation. I want to make sure we talk about that.
Right.
For the fan, it's not either or conversation.
And then we too consider mountains as the highest one. You ain't got to climb the highest one all the time. You can climb the little small mountains and still get your same notoriety, because you are who you are. And that's why it's so important. Personal development is so important on this journey, because then you get lost in all the other shit. The numbers.
By the way, didn't he say in the book, he had a good thing in the book, I don't have it in front of me. He said that God told us to be good. He never said nothing about greatness. But we all chase greatness. You want to be the greatest at what you're doing, the greatest at your craft, the greatest at your skill set. But he was saying in the book that God never even told us that. That's what we want to do kind of thing. He told us to be good, faithful servants, et cetera, about being good.
How about you be great?
But all that extra, that's chasing great stuff.
You can be great at being you too. And maybe the part of being you that doesn't accept certain things, work on that. You know what I'm saying? And you never know how it will come to you. Because I don't have a problem with good versus great or whatever. He does mention that in there. But I'm just like, because we look at it from the outside. We don't look at it as from a personal development standpoint. And that's one thing I see in this book, even including the Michelle book. That personal development piece is so key. And I'm just going to highlight one of my favorite books, because this is a literary podcast. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Sean knows I love this book, because again, somewhere in there, it would be nice had this man say, you know what, while I'm in my RV, I'm gonna pick up a book. He don't talk about what he read in between, what podcast. So we don't even know if and where he was getting any type of deposits. And that's something that we have to consider and also promote. Like, watch where your deposits are coming from. Is it coming from lowly places, or is it coming from fruitful places? And you'll know that based on how you feel when you in tune, when you hit that tune for it. Ding, where am I at?
I'm glad you mentioned that and raised that up, Dr. Wade, because I have this book along with me. I got the jacket off, as I do, hardback. This is Rest is Resistance by the sister Trisha Hersey. Rest is Resistance, and part 2 coming out in a few months. Demetrius still here, you know they're coming out. But in this book, she speaks about the NAP ministry, and again about the capitalism that we've all taken in, about grind culture and uh uh staying at work later and getting up earlier and staying up later, all the kind of things that we've all taken in indirectly, and how to rid ourselves of that. And so this book right here, Rest and Resistance, I think is key for a lot of us to help restore ourselves.
I'm with you. And when restore, I'm gonna use another synonym right there, balance. Restore, aka balance, aka whatever, because I think on page 74, I'm a hold space for Kofi in just a second, but on page 74, he talked about being a son or daughter is more than an ancestral name. It's your divine identity. And a part of our divine identity is balance, is happy, is joy along with the climb. So I think, again, going into that denial piece, because I think a lot of mountain people deny for whatever reason. Like, nope, I'm not going to give myself a chance to celebrate. Nope, I'm not going to turn down for fear of whatever. I'm going to lose traction. But if you are who you are, come on, divine identity, then you don't have to continuously prove. You just are. Folks don't work with you because you just are. You not because you post every week, 2 or 3 times a week. Are you consistent? Which that's an attribute. But underlying on the baseline, under all that, you are who you are. And that's something that was so important in this book, that divine identity. Because I wrote, then act like it. Not just on the high end, but on the valley end too. You know, be in your divine identity in the valley. Soak up everything that you can, whether it's just time, alone time, without all your machines. Maybe you like to walk through the woods. Maybe you like to hike. Maybe you like to fish. Whatever it is that you can go and get that don't necessarily depend on a person to give it to you. Come on, somebody. Go do those things. So then you don't have to look, man, this person, I went to this person for Valley and they dropped the ball. You know, they didn't give me Valley experience. But you can go do it yourself. You can go have you a McFlurry if the ice cream machine work, or you know, something like, see, I mean, but those things can refuel your psyche and say, you know what, I'm proud of myself. Going back to that celebration piece, I'm proud of myself. So now I can get back in the grind. I can celebrate, I can debrief, but then I can get back in the grind because I'm also my divine self in the grind.
I definitely appreciate the conversation. I've been quiet for a few minutes, and because I'm listening, because I'm learning, you know, and you know, I said it earlier and you said it again, you know, finding that balance, right? Um, and I don't know if that was you or Sean that mentioned sending the mountain back to the valley, or sending the mountain. They don't have to be either or, can be both, you know, going from the mountain back to the valley, back to the mountain, and even, you know, working on your divine self. For as and I know for me is I'm that type of the person that you're talking about me. And you know, if I stop, then you know I'm gonna lose traction, or I'm gonna lose focus, or I'm gonna lose the people that I got already buying into me. So I have to continuously work. You know what I'm saying? You know, and that's a bad thing for me to say. Um, I'll sleep when I'm dead. You know what I'm saying? I say that a lot to myself. I don't have time for rest. I don't have time for entertainment, or even, you know, finding, like, I'm learning just through the conversation, like what you said. You know, there are things that I like doing. I like, you know, I like chocolate ice cream. You know, I can go sit down at the parlor and, you know, take a break and, you know, eat chocolate ice cream at the ice cream, you know, at the ice cream parlor. I like shooting ball. I can, you know, I go get my son a little bit more for as shooting ball. Son, let's go shoot ball, because he ain't gonna tell me no definitely about shooting ball. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? He done got a little older now. So when I say certain things, he'll be like, nah, I don't want to go. You know, instead of being like, okay, then whatever I wanted to do back then, long as it being with me. But you know, when you get a teenager, you know, you start smelling yourself. So what if I say let's go shoot ball? You know, that's something I enjoy, shooting ball with other folks, you know. So there's things that I just, you know, I need to work on. And I hope other people that is listening to, who has a mountain mindset, you know, that didn't look at other other ways when it comes to rest. In a form, rest doesn't have to be laying down, going to sleep. Sleeping 10 or 12 hours. Rest can be, with your family. Rest can be eating your favorite meals. You know what I'm saying? Or rest could be, one of your favorite things that you might have did as a child, going fishing. That's something to relax yourself. Throwing them in that's you can do that by yourself. So, you know, um, this is a great conversation.
Yes, yes,
Definitely a great
yes.
conversation that we are having right here. I hope a lot of people are taking heed of those
I want
conversations.
to.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to speak on something I was talking about earlier too about building your Valley roster, right? Building a roster. So for most of us on our cell phone, you got certain folks you call for certain things. When I need a certain advice on this, I'm gonna call this person. When I need advice on that, I'm calling them. I ain't calling that person right there. We need certain ones we can talk to, and they are the Valley mindset person. They're encouraging us, they're nurturing, they're letting us be they're being a sounding board to us, letting us get our venting off, whatever that might look like. And then certain phone calls, they're mountain phone calls. They gonna put that battery in your back. They gonna put that gas on it. Man, it's a good idea. Yeah, man, go do that. Man, they push the button on that. You gotta have a phone list of both of those. I think, and most of us have one or the other.
I like that.
We need a blend of both of those kind of people.
I like that. Very well stated.
Yeah.
Because right, I mean, and even like my Valley person, she don't even know half the stuff I be doing. She don't know that. She just be like, "Baby, you call? Yes. Can I get a lemon pie when I come down there?" And that's my, But again, she don't know all the accolades. And sometimes the Valley people, like the gentleman's mom, she don't know everything that he had going on, and he was just, But she was calling as a service, and there are people who do check on you and who want to be involved in your life as an act of service, knowing you on the mountain. Because 9 times out of 10, that's what attracted them to you anyway. So like when you get there, just be able and willing to accept. And it's not an actual place, the top of the mountain. Metaphorically, it's a place, but internally, it's always that oscillation piece. Because at the end of the day, our divine identity is a posture, but our humanness is also a posture. And he talks about that. The only thing I wasn't really sitting with is that sin consciousness. It was turning me off because sin is not always synonymous with pleasure. It's not always synonymous with things that actually bring you good. It has a negative connotation because it's like, oh, it's sin. But there are a lot that you can do out there, depending on what your mindset is, where you can get all types of gratification. Don't limit yourself on the gratification that you can receive, because you may think, oh, well, it'll just be my dinner. And who knows, you'll go there and somebody will be like, dinner's on me. So you'll be like, okay, this came from the spirit. Going back to those conformational pieces that meet you where you are when you're doing things in alignment. And rest and rejuvenation and just being yourself. But your light is still shining. You don't ever have to turn your light off. That's how people are going to recognize you wherever environment you're in. But just allowing yourself that.
I want to speak on this too, right? For the mountain people, I think a lot of mountain climbers got to get better at building community around you, right? And when I'm saying that, I know so many entrepreneur friends I know, you're doing the job of like 15, 20 people. Mm-hmm. Which is also why the mountain is so strenuous, because you don't have a full out staff built out to handle certain things and take care of this. You're doing every single nook and cranny, bells and whistles. And speaking for myself, anything dealing with the Sean P experience is all me. You got a complaint, my phone call. You want to book an interview, it's my phone call. You want to change something, you want to move something around, make the flyer, post the flyer, do the Instagram, do the YouTube. I'm like Bugs Bunny, right? The cartoon. Bud Bunny passed the ball to Bud Bunny. That's me. So a lot of us on the mountain, we get so where we got to have other folks to be able to facilitate certain things, so where it's not that taxing while we on the mountain.
And to that point, Sean, it's the step. I honor those of us who can take the step to outsource some things, or the step to say, okay, this person says they can add to my business. I'm gonna let them. It's that reluctant piece though. Like you be like, well, but I really could do this by myself. But what if it could be better? And I do know some people who have said, you know what, I'm gonna take the reins. I'm gonna release the reins just a little bit on this to allow for assistance.
Man, most entrepreneurs, your idea is your baby.
Facts.
And for a lot of parents, When your child finally gets to that daycare age, it's hard to let your baby go for 7, 8 hours while you at work. It's hard to trust somebody with your baby and you totally gone. Because they won't do it like you do it. They won't get the bottle like you get the bottle and change the diaper like you change it. You gotta trust it'll be okay. And for most
but
entrepreneurs,
when they potty train, when you take them to daycare and they come back potty train, you be like, okay, thank you. Or they come back
I appreciate
walking,
you.
you be like,
They
okay,
ABC, they sight words.
yeah. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hard. That's you mentioned the word trust. That's hard, and and it's not everybody experience is not the same. And just speaking for me personally, I done had those people, that I wanted to delegate. Like I do a lot, and and I don't want to do a lot, but I don't trust nobody else because so many people have let me down. There's been so many people say they can do this, they can do that, and they can do this, they can do that, and do that. And then when it's time to do it, not saying that they don't start it, but they start, but they don't finish. So this is why you have me doing media now.
Everything, yeah.
I'm doing photographs. I'm doing commercials. I'm doing editing. I'm doing print graphs. I'm doing logo designs. I'm ghostwriting. Whatever the case is, I'm doing it. I'm creating pamphlets. I'm whatever it is, I'm doing it. And a lot of it, I be real. I don't want to do all of it, but I don't have nobody else. Go ahead.
You know why else too? Because guys like us, as you know, we move so fast.
Yeah, that's true.
One of our attributes is we swift.
Yes, and
so most other people, you come to for the logo, it will take 2-3 weeks. 2-3 weeks for what?
Yeah.
Everything that we do, Kofi says, Sean, I got an idea for something. Before you know it, it's manifesting.
Yes. And see that
ain't no dragging feet.
Right. And
but other people be dragging their feet. I'm gonna get around to it. I'm gonna do it like.
Yes, and that's why I appreciate the dynamic that we have is because we work fast. Like we will come up with an ideal about something and we'll work on it real fast to materialize it. We knowing that we work fast. We work fast, and a lot of people you on their own time. Like when I'm ready to roll something out, I'm ready to roll it out. I ain't got time because you ain't ate. I ain't got time because you got to go take a shower. I ain't got time because you want to go see your that I don't have time for it, right? So that's why I appreciate the dynamic that we have. Even when Dr. Wade came on board, I was a little scared. I'm like, well, maybe she may not keep up. Maybe she may be intimidated on the way we move fast, but she got right in the pocket and she started moving just as fast as we was moving fast.
Yes, this about climber. Right. She about climber.
Yeah, so that's why I like our dynamic, and I appreciate it because no matter what business venture that we do, we know we gonna get it done. And I know whatever job that we're tasked to do, I know that we gonna be able to get it done. A lot of people don't have those, don't have it because I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they doing this, they boom, boom. This is everything that they doing. They doing it themselves. They doing the promotion. They doing the marketing. They trying to
Kofi, for the national audience. I mean, Brother Cliff, my man Cliff Roy Jr., my man here where I live at.
Yes, sir.
He was an entrepreneur for years now, and we talk in private. Cliff tries to employ so many people, bro, and they don't make the cut. And we live in a college town, so you got straight folks just graduated from UL University, just graduated all these degrees and all that, but they are not up to par for what you're trying to do. Yeah. And so you end up what do you call it? You end up outsourcing overseas.
I see.
People always say, "Oh man, the job's going overseas." You trying to hire people, and it's like that. It's lackluster. So now I got to outsource over to Taiwan somewhere. I'm outsourcing to India, Indonesia. You wonder why?
Yeah.
But y'all not moving. Y'all not.
Yep. Definitely. Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. That's the thing. We just got to get better. We just got to get better with that. Like you saying with Cliff. Shout out to Cliff too, man. Because if it wasn't for Cliff, Same Tree Different Brands Publishing wouldn't even be in existence. I wouldn't even know how to do print design. I wouldn't know how to do any type of design, logo designs. I wouldn't even know um the book world. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I have a pretty sound mind when it comes to the business of books. So if it wasn't for him, I definitely I wouldn't be here, you know what I'm saying? Same Tree Different Brands Publishing wouldn't be here, you know what I'm saying, at all. Same Tree Different Brands Media wouldn't be here at all, you know what I'm saying, if it wasn't for that, man. So we just got to get better with that, as
Yeah,
entrepreneurs, people as entrepreneurs, trusting
yeah,
people like Brother Demetrius said, you know what I'm saying? But
That was a word,
even
by the way.
yeah, even with that, trusting people, people have to be who they say they are because
yes,
I've been
yes.
burnt so many times, man. It's like I'm trying to patronize your business, but I shouldn't have to run you down to give you my money. You said this
Oh
is
my
what
God.
you does. This is what
Oh
you
my
do,
God.
right? So that's why I be like, hey, look, if I don't know how to do it, I'm learning how to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning how to do it. That's how Same Tree Different Brands Publishing became a one-stop shop. I don't, you don't have to, whatever you need, I'm here. You don't have to outsource anywhere else. I do it all in-house. You know what I'm saying? And even with my business, I don't, I ain't got time to wait on nobody. If I want to shoot a commercial or put some content together, shit, I know how to do it now. I just do it. I don't got time to wait on nobody to do nothing. When you say this is what you do, and then when I try to get you to do what you do, you don't want to do what you do. It don't make sense to me, man. So
Come on, man. Come
we
on,
just
bro.
got to get better at that as
Come on,
entrepreneurs
bro.
too. But we got to trust, and that's something too
Um,
I got to work on trust too.
but before we go to Dr. Ashley Wade's wonderful the woman's segment to land on that, I want all of us, if we can, to give some things you took away from the book that you can use in the future and stuff like that, so that the audience get an idea of what you did take from the publication.
It's just the rest part for me, that's there is nothing wrong with rest, and how rest is important, you know what I'm saying, to get that rest, but also enjoying life, you know what I'm saying, enjoying yourself. So the valley or the mindset of rest doesn't have to be you laid up all day. It is you enjoying yourself, doing some of the things that some of the favorite things that you want to do, you know what I'm saying, or making someone else around you, happy in a sense. So that's what I took out of it, so, and that's something, like I said, I have to develop, and it makes me want to develop that. It makes me want to spend more time with my wife, more time with the kids, and make me want, just the conversation y'all talk about that I didn't look at. Let me go out and have my favorites, my favorite Italian meal. Let me go have my favorite scoop up ice cream at Apollo, and read my favorite book as I eat,
I love a
my
good
ice
pasta.
cream. Yeah,
I love
yeah.
a good pasta.
I'll be eating
You
all the
know what I'm
time.
saying? So the rest piece for me, I'll just leave it there, the
Yes,
rest.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna refer to page 145 when I say what I learned the most. It says, perhaps the carnality of the world and the restricted piety of our religious experiences have made us believe we must be masked in the presence of God. And I think really, to me, that just means like being okay, turning down and turning and allowing the refuel, because I do chill. I get my chill time on. I ain't doing nothing today on, but I really don't allow that refuel and that additional pour that from the outside, or when people want to pour, sometimes I may or may not recognize it. So just being more open to even noticing when somebody wants to do something nice for me or pour into me, instead of being like, no, I'm good, I don't need that. Just opening that door and allowing new experiences to happen. That's happened to me a lot this past month. And I don't think I actually acknowledged it until I read this part right here. My friend Tony, she'll invite me to a workout class. That's cool. That's a new experience. It was like a dance jam type class. I'm good for those. So like, again, they don't have to say, hey, I'm trying to bring your valley to you. They just may present it in a different way. And it still means valley, but we may not see it on the surface as valley. And then being open to like allowing the mask of your divine identity to kind of slide down a little bit, so you can really be yourself and be whatever other parts there are that you don't really show. Those vulnerable pieces, that smile, that younger self, like that you mentioned, or I think Kofi mentioned, that younger self, doing things that make that person happy, your core happy, and not just something on the surface, but like really refill your core. That's a huge lesson I took. And just, oscillating from, that divine, glowy person to like that regular person that'll take a nap. You know what I'm saying? I say regular because some people do nap. I'm not a big napper, but I did take a nap yesterday. So again, just like that whole allowing and being graceful with yourself, and then knowing that I'm not really losing. I am who I am. So if I take a break, what do I have to lose? I'm good on that. That's what I'll end with.
Yeah, I think I will close it out and land with like Kofi said, we're so kindred spirits, man. That downshift part, the enjoying rest, the allowing the nothingness. Take your hand totally off the wheel. I'm good not posting for X amount of days. I'm good not doing an interview X amount of weeks. I'm good not doing certain things. And guess what? It's gonna still be there.
That's the thing.
When I said the next showing people presents, guess what? It's the next showing people presents, right? And that's okay, that's fine. In the past like 2 or 3 months of my life, certain unforeseen things have happened to where it's out of my control. But while I'm there, I'm enjoying the valley and embracing it, having a proper perspective on what's happening has really helped me maintain my mental health, my emotional health, and my spirituality. You know what I mean? So I'll wrap it on that.
All right, all right. Well, let's get into the last segment
Great
of the day.
discussion. Great discussion, good people.
Here is the woman segment. So we'll turn that over to you, Dr. Ashley Wade.
Yes, I am very, very pleased and honored to present this beautiful lady. I don't know if Kofi, you can bring up a couple of those images that I sent over when you can,
Yeah, I
but
got it. You want me to post
to
them now?
yeah, just went throughout. I won't be too long, but I met a living legend this past month, March. A living legend. Her name is Ruth Elaine Turner. Um, and when I met her, she was just so inconspicuous with it. She appeared as like a tour guide, a Black History tour guide. But it wasn't until the end of the presentation or the tail end of the presentation that we realized that she was actually a living legend. So she is a Lee sister. Her family is the Lees, and she is one of a part of the family that was the most arrested family. They won an award for being the most arrested family. So she was one of the sisters. She says she participated in over 100 sit-ins. She couldn't even recall how many sit-ins that she was a part of, but she said over 100. And she had support of her parents. So she remembers being in court. She was telling us this story. And the judge was like, well, you need to talking to her mom. It was like, you need to do something with your child and get her under control. And her mom was like, I got this. So she was supported not only by her parents, who were descendants, of course, of slaves, but she was supported by her sisters, her family. They protested together. She was a part of the the March on Washington in 1963, and she was a part of the Selma March in 1965. And I do want to mention, in 1965, the NAACP executive director, Roy Wilkins, which we learned about, he presented the Lee family an award of recognition. He said Memphis is a better place because the Lees stood up by sitting down in forbidden seats. So she got that, their family got national recognition for being the most arrested. And again, if you're ever in Memphis or if you're traveling, look for a Black History tour, some type of heritage cultural tour. Now, if you've been to Memphis or not, the Civil Rights Museum, very popular. Lots of people visit that place when they go. I've been there twice, so I get the hype about it. But this heritage tour that I participated with through Asala was the most incredible experience that I had in that trip. It was all the Black history of Memphis. So we started learning so many different things. And I love that we got to learn from a Griot. She was not only there, but she lived to tell the story. So if you're ever in Memphis, check out the heritage tours.
You know what? That's
Her and
crazy.
her sister own that. Her and her sister have owned that since the 80s.
I never, and I go to Memphis a lot, and never heard of it. We always go to the same, same place every time, And I done brung my family down there several times. I done been to that place, you know, several times, but never heard of that place over there. So the next time we go, I'm definitely I'm definitely gonna have to tap in because I'm tired of going to what's the name of the place again?
Civil Rights Museum.
Yeah, Civil Rights Museum, and they I think the last time we went, they always doing some reconstruction.
Yeah,
Got one side set
right.
off or something, like they always doing some work over there. But now I never went, and I've been to. I take that back. I've been to some of the churches that hid the slaves. It's a tour. God, I can't think of it. It's been a few years that I went in there and they talked about the quilts. I got a whole thing on the quilts, them stitching, stuff into the quilts, you know what I'm saying, as maps, and showed a bunch of quilts, and I got a few books on quilts. I can't think of the name of that place over there, but that was since somebody told us while we was there about that. And I went, me and my wife, was it me and my wife? Yeah, me and my wife, we went and checked it out. But I never heard. Next time we go, I'm definitely gonna tap into that place.
I'm gonna read this last part before I finish. Elaine, she studied at Lemoyne-Owen College, which it's an HBCU, and after graduating in 1966, became a teacher. She became concerned that African American children growing up in Memphis were not aware of their Elaine and of their history. So her and her sister established Heritage Tours in 1983, which is an organization that arranges tours around the civil rights movement. They also erected a monument to the African slaves who died between 1852 and 1865. They founded the Slave Haven Underground Railroad Museum. That may be what you're talking about, Kofi, which teaches people
that's it.
History. And they were involved in establishing the Ida B. Wells Society. So they are in their bag, those sisters. And they also, I want to mention one last part of the tour, which is the Withers collection. So there was a gentleman who was a big photographer during the civil rights movement. And there's a whole museum on Bill Street that still is there where you can go in and look at the photos and stuff original photos that he took. So again, a part of their tour, you get to learn so much. I learned about, of course, Ida B. Wells, Mr. Robert Church. I learned about his land and the way he basically saved Memphis, a Black man, because of the yellow fever scare. See, they don't tell the whole story. So definitely, if you go to Memphis, check out the Heritage Tours. It's owned by Living Legends, Miss Ruth Elaine Turner and her sisters. Shout out to Miss Ruth Elaine. She's amazing. She's beautiful. And we even marched up Main Street with her. So I can talk more about that experience, but I really just want to give her flowers for being amazing. And then giving us the opportunity to experience her in real life was very, very heartwarming. It was monumental. And I love being Black for it. I love being Black and getting a chance to tap into our elders and really see their resilience because they still here. And learning about more of our people who did amazing things. I'll end it right there.
Yes. Yeah. I love when you said that. They're still here.
Yes.
It's not far back as we think it is. It's closer than we think. And a lot of folks that was around at that time, they still walking around, they still doing their thing, man. You got to tap into these people and get their mouth to ear stories in real time, man. You never know who you around at the grocery store or at your job. You got to talk to people, man. Have conversations with people.
And get that inspiration because, again, us mountain climbers, as we close, us mountain climbers, sometimes, like Kofi said, we need inspiration from other mountain climbers. Being arrested over, 17, 20 times is a huge mountain that these ladies, these sisters were willing to climb. So, again, being able to get feedback in real time. She says she don't regret none of it. And she will not get her record expunged because that's legacy that she leaving for her family.
Yes. And I want to put a national spin on this whole thing before we leave too. We see that Donald Trump and the administration, they're doing certain executive orders and all that, trying to do things to libraries, museums, historical sites, man. So while these things still here, we need to try our best to go ahead and take advantage of it while we can, because we don't know the next 4 years, who know what. So why you can't take advantage of these resources, man.
Yes, that are free right around you. Historical markers are important too. We got a chance to take pictures, as you guys saw, in front of the historical marker that was made for her and her family. So again, if you see those, don't just walk by them. You'll learn a lot, especially in Memphis and other historically Black areas and parts of town.
Yes. And definitely with having conversations, we definitely need to document it. We definitely need to write it down. You know what I'm saying? Because we need to keep that legacy alive, keep what they did alive. You know, and we ain't documenting it and writing it down. You know, this because the purpose and the intent, they trying to erase everything, right? So, you know, let's not allow them to do that. If you know, we can't stop what they doing, but we can do our part to keep,
Kofi.
to keep it alive. Yes. So, you know, I hope y'all enjoyed episode.
Claps at Kofi. Hey.
Oh, let me put the claps on here. All right. Yeah,
that was a good show, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
As promised. Promised.
Yes. So we'll see y'all next month, man, on the Griots podcast. Man, we appreciate those who tune in and stayed the duration. We appreciate those who popped in and popped out. We appreciate those who will listen to this later on in the archive. I definitely want to shout out to people. Last episode, we ran the numbers up real quick. In one day, we had like 200 some views with the last conversation that we have. I thought that was big. That happened Sunday. I looked at it Monday. I think it was at 201 or something in one day. So that was a great conversation as well. You know, hope we able to repeat this and with this and as well. This was a great conversation. I definitely learned from these conversations. You know, we all learn from these conversations.
Yeah, we do.
It ain't just us that's giving the conversation and think we're just the ones that's giving the lessons, but we also learn, you know, the lessons.
Learning.
So,
learning.
No doubt.
What you say, Kofi? As I learn, we all learn.
We all learn.
As I learn, we all
learn. That's right.
Yep. So we'll see y'all, man, next month, man. We out of here. We'll leave y'all with our anthem song on our way out, man. But peace.
Go, I'm in the city, yeah. I'm in the spot, in the vicinity. I'm the hottest up in the city, yeah, it really is. I studied the ones that was the realest, the illest, that invented that. Talking about Griots, West African passages for the street stone. Adios mio, can't forget about the Afro-Latinos. Rock their traditions from Africa's West Central. Let's raise a toast to the ancestors of old. For the knowledge comes in the form of a griot. In the form of a griot.
Proper.